Hey, welcome back. We're here, Josh Wood, Terry Powell, Alyshia Martin with Door to Door, your second week, realtors in your local area. So today we were going to bring on Alyshia Martin on her lunch break and talk a little bit about appraising. She's the owners of Martin Appraisals here in Winchester. And don't mind to introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us a little bit about you when you started your company here locally, and I know you've done a lot of business and a lot of appraisals for us, so we appreciate that.
Yes, thank you for having me. My name is Alyshia Martin. I have Martin Appraisal Group. We are a residential real estate appraisal company. We have 3 employees, myself, my husband Michael Martin, and Skylar Payton. And we do appraisals around the Bluegrass region. So we are based in Clark County, but we kind of extend up to Rowan and Moorhead, and then we'll go to Frankfurt, kind of that way. So we actually tend to do a lot more in the east, which has kind of been our bread and butter.
Awesome. Well, again, we're here with Terry Powell, Freedom Realty and Property Management as well. Thanks for joining, Terry. I think you said you went to a UK game this week and had to turn the mic volume up for today's show.
I did go to the game, and I had some disagreements with the officials, and my voice is trying to recover. But I think they heard me, so the second half they were doing better.
Awesome. Well, I hear ice cream always helps that at the games. But yeah, we'll get right in it. Alyshia, we get questions all the time. What is an appraisal?
Yeah. So an appraisal is an opinion of value. So it's an opinion, but it's based on data. We use comparable sales in the subject's market area. So it is an opinion of value. It's subjective, but it really is data driven.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have to use like recent sales, like a 6-month, or is there a year window that you can use?
Yeah, so that's really based on our clients' preferences, but a lot of our appraisals are for lenders who will request that we stay as recent as possible. So we'll start looking in the last 6 months. If we need to expand to 12 months, we may have to if we're working in a rural area or something with not as many sales. But we try to stay as close to the subject as possible, as recent of a sale as possible.
Awesome. Terry, do you mind to explain a little bit what the difference in is, like a broker opinion, a comparable market analysis, and an appraisal? I think Alyshia said it's from the bank order, but you can also give kind of an opinion of value also.
I think from a real estate standpoint, we're looking at square footage, we're looking at age, neighborhood, and some of the same issues. One of the things Alyshia maybe can help us with a little bit that we run into is if I have 2 homes that are both 40 years old, but one home has been maintenance and serviced really well, updated with upgrades, the effective age of that home may be more like 15-year-old. Mm-hmm. And how does that impact in the appraisals? Do you see that a lot?
Yeah, we'll see that. And what we take as an appraiser, we take that into consideration when we're looking at the quality and condition of a property. So like you said, just because you have 2 homes that are both 40 years old, one may have had some upgrades that warrant us making adjustments. So we're comparing them to each other, so we have to make those adjustments. And usually you'll see that come in when we adjust for the quality and the condition. And I will say, we were talking about this a little bit before, what the appraiser has to do, and one of the harder parts is we're comparing, the comparable sales to the subject. And just because something has been updated, it's the appraiser's job really to, every realtor is going to market that there's been updates. So the appraiser has to go in and say to what degree were those updates made. So you have an updated kitchen. Did you paint your cabinets? Did you install new cabinets? What are we working with here? What level is that upgrade involving? Because that will help us with our adjustments, or that's where we bring that in.
Yeah, both great points. We appreciate that. We'll go to another question that we get asked, we're kind of talking about, is people trying to add square footage to their house. Maybe they have space above their garage or down in the basement. A lot of times we get asked, well, what counts as finished square footage, and how is that in the basement? What do I need to do to make this compliant when I go to sell or get an appraisal?
Yeah, so in a basement, what we're looking for, 6 foot ceiling height. Also, it has to be finished. The components have to be finished. Walls, there's no temporary walls. There has to be a point of egress if you're going to consider it a bedroom, and with a window that someone could actually get out Also, we're looking at heating source. Obviously, there's got to be a heat source for it to be considered square footage. And then, am I missing something here?
So you can't just open the basement door and that counts as heat for the basement, right?
Right,
You gotta
right.
have a separate source.
Right, and I think sometimes we get questions on flooring. So we have in our, research found that the concrete flooring, if it's been sealed properly, if it's got a
Sealer stain.
yes, just really preventing it from the wear and tear, that could be considered finished. It is dependent. I'll have to see it and verify that that is factual. Just because you say you've done it, I'll have to verify the quality of it. But anyways, yeah, that's one way to capture more square footage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that sometimes values are different in the basement versus the first level if there's a walkout. So kind of like what you were mentioning, you just need to compare apples to apples, see other homes that have
Yes.
sold that have added that square footage, and kind of go from there. It's a case by case, but with recent comps, I think is the key, right?
Right,
It's
right.
something that's recently sold.
I think one of the things I would add is you use sold properties.
Yes.
Many times we run to people and we run into people at their home and they say, well, the house across the street is for sale for this price, or this one did this or this, but really we can use those in our comparisons, but in your actual appraisal, it needs to have closed.
Yes, what we try to do is if there's one pending around you or one active, we'll include that in the report just to kind of give the lender an idea of what's going on, but we cannot base our opinion of value on anything but sold sales. So, yes.
Yeah. Terry, you were bringing this up before. What can we do as realtors to help prepare for an appraisal? Say we've got it under contract, we're through an inspection, the bank has now ordered an appraisal, you've reached out to us, we've confirmed the time that you're going to go to the house. How can we help you? Do we provide some comps, or do we have the doors open? What can we do to help make that easy for you?
Yeah, I think I have a couple opinions on this for my realtor friends. I never mind having comparable sales left. I think that's really helpful for appraisers to kind of know where you're coming from, maybe. And a lot of times we will use them, and we'll at least try to use them and see how they shake out. Again, knowing our parameters that we have to stay in. I think the most helpful thing realtors could do is just really understand what this sale is looking like. So if you know that you have an FHA contract, you know the appraiser is going to need access to the attic and to the crawl spaces. So make sure those are accessible for the appraiser. If not, we have to come back and we have to charge. So, and then also knowing, just I know it's as simple as this, but in your listing, whenever you confirm a showing, make sure the showing time information is there. How we access is there. Is it a Century key box? If it's a combination code, can you put that in there for us? If not, we're gonna have to call. So I think just making that process smoother gets you all quicker appraisal reports. But yeah, and then just on the other end, just helping your clients, letting them know what we'll need access to. And I never mind having comparable sales left. Also, if there have been updates, having that list for us to know what's been done is really helpful.
I think one of the pluses of having a realtor, and a good realtor, is the fact that when there is an FHA loan, there is a VA loan. We've experienced this before, so we can get ahead of some things. We know the peeling paint on the building out back is going to be an issue. We know if that railing is not secure. So I think from that standpoint, that's where we can get involved. We see FHA loan, we know you're going to be opening some windows. We know these things are happening.
Absolutely, and I think I give credit to Terry. I think 5 or 6 years ago now, you said that you would take your listing and put it at the house for the appraisal. They can see the square footage, they can see how many bedrooms, bath. I think kind of the main thing is give as much information as we can to the appraiser, to the inspectors, to the folks that are helping us get the loan closed is very key, help you be efficient. The last thing we want you to do is to come back and get into the attic because you didn't have access there, or the crawl space was locked, and we don't want you to have to make a second trip. So you're absolutely right there.
And a lot of realtors will tell us if there have been multiple offers or something. That helps us in our justification of our opinion of value too. So the more information you can give the appraiser, in my opinion, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Here in Kentucky, just sitting here thinking about it, we have a lot of older homes. and a lot of homes that weren't built with closets. And we get asked every time, well, is this a bedroom? Doesn't have a closet? Can you talk a little bit about what doesn't necessarily have to have a closet, but you have to have 2 ways in, 2 ways out to be a bedroom. And that's very important, kind of finishing that basement square footage. If you're putting a room in that doesn't have a window, you still need to get out a separate way to count that as a bedroom.
Yes,
Appraisal.
yes. So we, as an appraiser, we don't always have to, or you don't have to have a closet for it to be considered a bedroom, but you do have to have a point of egress to the exterior. So you'll see, I'll see realtors list sometimes a home with more bedrooms than the appraiser is going to put on the appraisal report, and that confuses people. I always call them multi-purpose rooms. You know, a lot of times it still has the functionality of a bedroom, but I cannot call it that for the purposes of the appraisal. So
Just because it has a bed in it, you can't call that around.
No,
nice try.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thanks, Terry. Thanks, Alyshia. Thank you all for tuning in. If you have questions for appraisal questions, real estate questions, we'd love to hear them. We'd love to respond on maybe another episode of Door to Door with you, or we can reach out and connect with you in the meantime. But again, thanks for sticking around. Thanks again, Alyshia. Thanks, Terry.
If someone wants to be a guest in the future, maybe you're an inspector, or you have some a lender, whoever.
Yeah.
Someone wants to. We'd love to get more info on that.
Yeah, it's kind of to Terry's point. We're here in the real estate business. We're here in Clark County. We like our local contacts. So if you have information that you want to share to other folks, we would love to make that a part of our show and get that information out.
One more thing, if you have 5 acres, really cheap, close to Lexington, we're looking for that.
Yeah, 5 acres, 10 acres.
It's really cheap too.
Any land, yes, that would be great. Awesome. Well, thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.